Okay, I wanted to read two chapters from Maria Simma's book. They're very short. So the first one is Sacramentals. And of course, Maria Simma spoke to and saw the holy souls in purgatory. She prayed for them, she helped release them, and she propagated devotion to them. I myself am very devoted to the holy souls, helping them to get out. It is the ultimate act of charity. But anyway, she talks in this book about sacramentals, and the book is Get Us Out of Here, which I highly recommend, and she's being interviewed. What are the sacramentals, and are they important to us and to the poor souls? Very much so. We should always use them, and the poor souls love the sacramentals, which are holy water, oil, salt, metals, candles, and so forth. I know a wonderful and a very interesting story about just that. I knew of a woman who had made the poor souls the promise to light a blessed candle for them every Saturday. On one such Saturday, her husband said, "Oh, stop that. You don't have to do that. It's old-fashioned, and the dead are happy. They hardly need that, and I don't care what you promise them." The woman, of course, was saddened, but still wanted to go ahead with it, but without being disobedient to her husband. So she thought, all right, I'll just stick it in the wood stove where George won't see it. He hasn't lost anything in there. So she went ahead and put it in there, closing the little door that, by the way, had a small window in it. Then she left the house, and soon her husband returned. As he was about to throw something away, he glanced over to the stove, and to his surprise, he saw some light inside. This puzzled him, and he opened the little door to look inside. To his great astonishment, turning somewhat pale, he not only saw the burning candle, but around it 6 pairs of perfectly folded hands. He closed the door and waited for his wife to return. When she did, he said, "Why put your candle inside the stove? You might as well put it out here on the table. Here you speak about blessed light. Do they also like particular music?" "Yes, they like holy music, and in a special way, the sound of blessed church bells that call their families to prayer. So, is it a surprise that some in the secular world claim that church bells are an invasion upon their privacy? There's one more point for Satan if the towns are so spiritually dead as to react to these wishes. Yeah, what about in big cities where we have pagan religions doing their, loud calls? Okay? What about that? How might holy water help us and the poor souls? Holy water should certainly be kept on hand in every house or apartment. And by the way, Epiphany water is the strongest, blessed at the Easter time. It should be used on a regular basis. I bless my house every day with holy water. I bless my automobile. So you should do that. Every night, throw holy water around your house, around your bed. If anything disturbing or any great sin occurs there, the space should be sprinkled with it. It is great protection from Satan. The poor souls want it at every grave, and they congregate and help us wherever it is used often. Also, to discern whether some activity is demonic or not, holy water will very quickly answer that question for us. Demons run from it, and peace returns when it is used. Also, there are studies today that prove that holy water is also protection against dangerous radiation. That's very interesting. How else might our having something blessed by a priest help protect us in everyday life? Priests should return to blessing as much as possible. This should include the blessing of homes, crops, cars, and all enterprises. One good idea would be blessing all the salt that is used in winter to keep the roads free of ice. Doing that would dramatically lower the number of accidents and thus be helpful to everyone. My priest, he'll, if you ask him, he'll bless, salt, and he does the holy water, and it's in the old Latin rite, which is very, very strong and powerful, and that's what I recommend. If you can get it blessed in the old Latin rite, that's the best way. But whatever you can get blessed, that's fine. Now I wanted to read you. That's a very short chapter. I want to read you another short chapter, and it's called Limbo. Limbo. Now, in the modern age, the church has disregarded limbo or said it doesn't exist. If you look at Dante's Inferno, a very ancient work, at least 500 years or so, well, more than 500 actually, there's limbo. Okay, and that was part of the hell, part of the Catholic idea of the afterlife. But today it's been kind of disregarded. Now, Maria seems to think there is a limbo. What happens to stillborn or aborted children? Where do they go? The poor souls tell me that they do not go to heaven, but because they were innocents, they do not, of course, go to purgatory. They go to a place that is in between. One can call it limbo, but sometimes we call it children's heaven. The word limbo comes from limbus, that is the space between the print on a page and the edge of the paper itself. The souls of babies there do not know that there is something better. They do not know that they are not in heaven, and it is our responsibility to lift them up into heaven. And that, of course, does not take a lot because they never had a chance to sin. We can do that with a baptism for the unborn or with a requiem mass. Stillborn and aborted children should also be given a name and accepted into the family. This enters them into the book of life. That is very true. If you have a baby that died or miscarriages, you should name the baby because that soul was there. I knew a nurse working in a hospital in Vienna who always baptized the stillborn and aborted babies in that hospital. She did so twice a day, in the morning for those who had died that night, and in the evenings for those who had died during the day. While dying herself, she called out, "Oh, here comes all the children, so many children." The priest at her bedside answered, "Why, sure, you baptized so many, and here they are to help you now." And these children then assisted her on her way. So she used to, baptize the stillborn children, and you can do that. A lay person can baptize, okay, in desperate situations like that. So do it. If you're in a situation that you can do this, do it, okay? Do babies in limbo also appear or come very close to their relatives here? Yes, they do, especially their siblings are often conscious of another child being close by, even if they know nothing of the stillbirth or abortion. I have heard that highly sensitive children have often seen their stillborn or aborted siblings. First of all, abortion has to end. It just has to end. But that when they do, they see them growing older as time passes at the same rate as living ones. Does this not contradict your saying that the souls always appear to you the same age as when they died? No, I do not think it does, because God always knows us the best and shows us things the way we can understand them the best. So when children show themselves as getting older, as you just described it also only means that God wishes to make it as clear as possible to the very sensitive and loving child who exactly is visiting it. Children pray much more easily and freely than adults do, and are more readily believed by their parents than others are. So this experience will certainly bring quick results if the loving parents jump in and take care of matters as they should, on behalf of all their children. Jesus himself said, "Let the children come to me, do not hinder them," and this also includes all stillbirths and abortions. How do you feel about abortion? Abortion is the greatest war and greatest horror of all time, and it is. To kill an innocent child, my God, I just can't believe society has come to that. It shocks me sometimes. It really does that a mother could do this. It's so unnatural to do that to your own offspring. But anyway, now this is what she says. Satan has been permitted by this so crippled society to kill the innocent by the millions, just like another swarm of flies. The reparation for this will be enormous, meaning this world has to make reparation for all of these abortions. That's what she says here. I do not wish to say more than that. Well, before I finish, in parts of this book, there's some other chapters I'm going to read. They're kind of long, but I need more time to do it. But she hints at, chastisements for this. And you can see it. I mean, Europe's being invaded, really. America as well has been invaded. And, we're in a very difficult situation. We have a demonized society, a disintegrating society. the money is being depreciated. So there's a lot of punishments. The food is degraded. Not that it's hopeless. I don't want you to think that, but I'm just saying that like what she's saying, there has to be payment. You can't just kill all these people and think that it's just it's going to be okay. It's not that you did it or I did it, but the society has allowed it. And some people embrace it. They don't even know what they're doing. If a woman then has admitted that her abortion was a great sin, what must she do so that she can be sure that Jesus has erased everything? Can you answer this, or should I change the subject? No, that's all right. The woman must immediately confess it to the priest and truly ask Jesus for forgiveness. Then the woman must do deep and heartfelt penance, for this is a way that truly brings peace back to her. Then the child must be given a name in order for it to find acceptance and love in the family that it so definitely belongs to, and for it to be entered into the book of life. She must ask forgiveness from that child. And finally, she ought to have it baptized and give it a mass, as I explained earlier. If all this is done, and done with a humble and penitent heart, then it will be enough. So I hope you understand that. After all this is done, do any effects of this still remain behind? Besides the mother never forgetting it, the poor souls have told me that she will see in heaven the spot where her child should have been after having lived a full life. Boy, that's bad. But that the spot will then be empty. Ugh, that's painful. But because heaven is heaven, there will be no pain there of any sort concerning this. Okay, well, that's good. Poor thing. Abortion really is just the greatest scourge. In the modern age, it exists, but in ancient times, yes, there were attempts to do this. Yes, there were. I'm not going to say there weren't, because there were. But not like today. Not where it's an industry. Whatever. I can't even get one because it's just very disturbing. Will all abortions be punished in the same way? No, because it does often happen that youngsters today are forced by parents or society to have it done. And in those cases, the far greater responsibility will be carried by the adults who forced them to have it done. The media and government laws that lower the conscience of society, and the doctors who make profits and who lie or conceal the well-known negative consequences that will come upon the mothers later on will be punished severely. I think what she's talking about is the idea that a lot of women that get abortions get cancer. There seems to be a link for some reason. I think that's what Maria is hinting at. Also, the medical and cosmetic industries that use fetus byproducts to develop products will find out the immensity of their sins. We must pray a lot for them all. You ain't kidding. Many women in the USA, the rest of the West, as well as in the East, I suppose, say that they may do as they choose with their own bodies and that which is within it. How do you answer them? How dare they do to a helpless child something which they themselves would never permit another to do to them, while they, as adults, are hardly as helpless to protect themselves? How quick they are to run to court when a branch from a neighbor's tree breaks off and damages some of their property. But when they take a life, it remains their right, and no one else may dare to try to intervene for that life. These are very poor people who need our prayers every day to be freed from their selfishness, arrogance, and confusion. Well said, Maria. Heavy words, but they need to be said because the comeuppance are going to be paid. They're going to come, and it's starting. You can see it. Society just doesn't disintegrate by accident, right? It's been done through such horrible actions. Anyway, those were 2 short chapters. I hope you enjoyed them, and I hope you'll think about what she said, and have a great day.